Welcome to our eye opening television feature where we delve into the disturbing realities of America's prison labor system. Our investigation begins at Angola, once a southern slave plantation and now the epicenter of the nation's largest maximum security prison. From this unsettling origin, trucks laden with prison raised cattle embark on a journey that leads to the plates of households across the nation, feeding into the supply chain of corporate giants like McDonald's, Walmart, Cargill, and many more. But what's truly staggering is the scale of this exploitation and its correlation to historical injustices. As we uncover the intricate web connecting dozens upon dozens of corporations to the toll of incarcerated individuals, we confront the stark truth of disproportionately high black incarceration rates. The echoes of slavery reverberate through the present as African Americans who make up a significant portion of the prison population find themselves performing labor reminiscent of the antebellum era. The list of complicit corporations reads like a who's who of the global market, encompassing names such as Tyson Foods, PepsiCo, Domino's Pizza, Coca-Cola, Popeyes, Walmart, Kroger, Target, Whole Foods, McDonald's, Burger King, Sara Lee, and Costco, among others. These entities, with revenues soaring into the billions, are directly tied to a system that exploits cheap prison labor to bolster their profits. From food processing to retail, from agriculture to manufacturing, no industry seems immune from benefiting from this modern day form of exploitation. As viewers, brace yourselves for the shocking truth behind the products lining your supermarket shelves and gracing your dinner tables. This isn't just about profit margins, it's about the perpetuation of a system deeply rooted in injustice and inequality. Join us as we unmask the hidden face of corporate America's complicity in the perpetuation of modern day slavery. Joining me today are my seat buddy, the lovely Professor Dr. Sharon Michael Chadwell, and businessman, entrepreneur, and community activist Chris Dawkins. And of course, I want to give a shout out to the man behind the scene who makes all this possible, the great Mr. Carl Booker. And so we want to give a shout out to our friend and our comrade, Professor Fred Williams, who's absent today, and he'll truly be missed. And so I do thank you for joining us for what promises to be a heck of a show today. And with that, I want to turn to my co-host and seat buddy, Dr. Sharon Michael Chadwell.
You know, when you see the list, it's disturbing that the prison system has really taken advantage of that loophole in the 13th Amendment, where slavery is legal in the prison system. This is called a spade a spade. You know, under the 13th Amendment, slavery was made legal. So it's easy to understand how they just round up folks and put them in prison for so many years to improve their efficiency in producing these products or whatever it takes to produce these products, because you know that no one's going to be there for 30 days. So they keep them in prison long to help them improve their efficiency in producing these products. So they come into our table. So it becomes a question now is, what do we do about it? Do we stop eating, stop wearing the clothes? I mean, what do we do about it?
Chris, your thoughts?
First of all, where is Angola?
Louisiana. I forgot to mention that. And so yeah, we're talking about the massive, the largest maximum security prison in the country, Angola, which is in southern Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
And are they the only prison system in America who's doing this, or do you know?
No, absolutely not. So every single prison system, just about everyone in the country, including the local county jails, that loan prison labor out to work. And I was shocked to find that, to learn that. So your local McDonald's employee could be coming out of prison. Your local Popeyes employee could be someone who's being released from prison and going out to work and then returning to prison. So they make tens of millions of dollars. The local jails, the local state jails, and all those kind of entities make. I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
So can you give an example to us as to the financial benefit to these corporations? How much is Angola charging for their services? They're paying the inmates a certain amount, and totally reaping the benefits from this are the major corporations.
Absolutely. So I was absolutely. I mean, I was shocked to read, and I want to reference the AP News article. It's called "Prison to Plate," And so I definitely want you to go to that article and dig into it and read up on it. But I was shocked that some of these corporations actually have their own warehouses where they're moving prisoners into corporate warehouses, and they're warehousing them so they could work from this prison warehouse, and they go out and work into the fields where they're raising chickens or they're processing eggs. And so it's Eggland's Best. And I mean, all these corporations are really, they're all complicit.
So the last thing that I would ask you is, it sounds like there would be eventually, not eventually, I guess currently, an incentive to imprison folks to get the free labor.
Right. They're not paying. They're not paying the high salaries. They're not paying the medical benefits. They're not paying anything. I mean, if they're getting 23 cents, if that, that's free.
Well, you have multiple issues to me that are a problem, okay? It's a problem, number one, being able to get the free labor. But then when you figure out
You said
that,
it's a problem to get to free labor?
yeah, it's a problem because they're getting the free labor,
okay.
for these corporations. But it's more of a problem that you probably have local governments. There's somebody someplace that's corrupt enough to say, we want to get more people into prison so we can have more of this free labor.
Yeah, corporation. That's how a corporation expands. A corporation makes profit through expansion, and if your corporation is based on prison labor, the only way to expand it is to open more prisons and get more labor in there. So yeah, there's definitely an incentive, and so.
I'm going to do a deep dive in this. Okay, we already know that a lot of the prisons are members are black, but is it possible that this illegal immigration that we're seeing is another means to grab up more free labor?
I would personally say it really doesn't make a difference, because when you look at financial structure, I'm looking at this from a business standpoint. The biggest draw on a corporation is usually their employment and what they have to spend for labor. So when you have
Of the 72 centers designated by the National Cancer Institute,
on the stock market, the biggest draw on them is being labor. So they're trying to figure out always how they can make their labor expense smaller. So that's why you have these corporations who are going overseas and so forth. So now the goal seems to be is to get more of these people in prison. We can keep the manufacturing or whatever it is from the labor standpoint here in America, and keep our labor costs down as well, which means we don't have to ship our product back from China back to the U.S.
Right.
So when they say made in America, there may be
made in prison.
made in prison.
Yeah. So no, it is. And so I mean, we're here so far. We did talk about the state, but there's a monster out there called Federal Prison Industries, also known as UNICOR, and so there's a federal law that says if UNICOR makes it, the federal government has to buy it from UNICOR before they seek an outside source. And so, and the only people that can invest in UNICOR are people who work for the federal government, which is your congressmen, your judges, the people who have an incentive to send you to prison for a long time, the people who have an incentive to make really restrictive laws or harsh sentences. And so these people have a lot of their retirement tied up into UNICOR. And so the reason UNICOR is so insidious is because they manufacture multi-million-dollar parts. They manufacture parts for jet fighters. They manufacture parts for nuclear submarines. They build trucks for the Border Patrol, generators for the Air Force. Everything you could think of, from the uniforms that our soldiers wear to the Kevlar vests, just everything that they can make, they make. And these defense companies are paying them pennies, and they're making billions of dollars worth of profit. And so that's an issue.
You just hit on something that when I first came to work in Texas, I worked for a company that was a company for In the federal government, it was called a JWAD, Jacob Wagner O'Day Act, okay? That was the strongest set aside in America. Is UNICOR a profit or nonprofit organization, or do you know?
Yeah, I can tell you this: UNICOR is a profit-generating organization, and like I said, a lot of the people their 401ks are tied up into UNICOR. So
Here's the
it
reason
is a
why.
profit-making.
Here's the reason why I ask is because JWAD, when you talked about if you are able to produce a product for the federal government, and once you're able to do that, it always has to be given to, that's a JWAD program. And that normally goes to a nonprofit organization. I don't think it's called JWAD anymore, but it normally is a nonprofit organization. It's the strongest set aside that the government actually has that most folks don't actually know about. So when you say that, because what's really unique, the one thing that you said is once they get that if it's something that the federal government needs and UNICOR can produce it, they get it forever. That's a JWAD program.
They have to go to UNICOR. The thing about UNICOR is that it's all profit. It is 100% profit because the taxpayers are picking up the medical costs for the inmates. The taxpayers are paying to house the inmates. The taxpayers are paying for the guards for the inmates. So all of it, everything they make is profit because they're not putting it. There's no 401k. There's no medical bill. There's nothing that UNICOR has to pay for because the taxpayers are carrying that, putting the bill. So it's 100% profit, and it is a massive, massive entity that has this clause in just about everything you could think of.
Dr. Chadwell, I'll let you speak. And just the one thing that I didn't mention with a JWAD program, you have to have somebody that has a disability to be able, that's what the whole key to this program is. So it sounds like to me, and I'm gonna check this when we're off the air, but it sounds like to me, they're classifying these prisoners as being somebody with disabilities, which allows them to be able to hire these people, okay? And that's how they're getting these government contracts. The government contracts range from all the things that you talked about, can be, from jet, to whatever it may be.
Right.
So any kind of labor, and somebody has figured this out, and I smell a rat.
The entire federal government is a rat. So no, because they belong to they're an entity. They're part of the Department of Justice, and so it's you can look it up, Federal Prison Industries. But the numbers are ridiculous and they're staggering. They really are, and that's just and that's the federal aspect of it. But even going back to the state part of it, and I was shocked to find this. So they still have these inmates out there in a row with hose, and the guards are on horseback, and if the inmate steps out of line and the guard has to shoot fire around in the air, the inmates have to pay for that bullet that the guard fired in the air.
What?
Yes.
Off the 23 cents.
Off of their 23 cents an hour. Yeah, it is. Oh my goodness. Like I said, I referenced to go ahead and take a look at the site. It's an AP News site, and it's called Prison to Plate, and it talks a little bit about it. And so we are going to close out this segment, and we'll be right back with more on this very interesting topic.
That's appalling.